Good morning or afternoon, as the case may be. Carla, I am looking at lesson 111. You didn't do great on it. You did good on some, but like the graphing part, you're still kind of struggling with. So I wanted to kind of go over that just a little bit more with you. I gave you a half point credit because you got one of these right, but I want to show you the answer key here. And I want to show you this is an open circle. And it's an open circle because there's no equal sign here. Okay, that is the difference. When you have that number line, put 0, 1, -2, -1, -3, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it says x is less than -1, it can't include the -1 because it's less than that. It can go right up to it, like it could be negative 1.1 or negative 1.01 or negative 1.0001, but it can't include -1. It has to be less than -1, and we know that less than would be everything to the left, and that includes all of these real numbers in between -1 and -2. So we go right up to the 1, and we say, okay, everything up until the -1, and then this way. But we have to circle that. We can't fill it in, right, with a dot. And you were here, actually, you were on -2, and it should have been the 1. Let me click that. Yeah, should have been the -1. Now this one you did correct. You had it on the -5 and you filled it in because it had the equal sign that x is greater than or equal to 5. So filling that circle in and then going that way, that was correct. And so that's why I gave you half a point for this one, because you got this one right, but you did not get this one right. You started it on the -2 instead of this. Now, if this had been integers, where you were just selecting integers, and you just needed to dot the -2 and dot the -3, then that would have been correct, because then that would have been an integer, the next integer less than -1. But because this said reals, reals means all the numbers, okay? Not just the whole numbers, but all the numbers in between the whole numbers, all the fractions and decimals. We draw the line, which you got right, but that also includes, like, 1.5, -1.5, -1.8, -1.9. We have to include all of those too. Okay, -1.5. So that's why we circle that and keep it open, just to indicate that it's everything between the -1 and and everything else, but not including the -1. All right, I probably have harped on that enough. Let's move on to the next one that you had some struggle with. Let's look at 0 is less than or equal to x plus 6, which is less than 11, and that is integers. Okay, so we treat this the same way as we would an equation. It's just that we have 3 parts instead of 2. So we want to get x by itself. So we're going to subtract 6 from each section. So we have -6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 5. And that's our conjunction here. So we have to draw it like a conjunction on our graph. So let me put that in for us. I need something I can copy and paste, so it's a little bit faster than this, but you get the idea. I'll do one more. There we go, just so it's on the outer range there. So -6 is less than or equal to x. So that equal to means that we can draw the dot right there on top of the 6. But our domain is integer, so we're not drawing the line. And x is less than 5. So we can't include 5, so we go to the next integer, which would be 4. And now we just dot every integer in between those two, because x is going to be -6 or bigger and less than 5. And that is how we would graph that. And here's the, yes, -6 through +4 is how you would graph it, because it says integers. Okay. So that one wasn't terrible. And you got to this point, I think you got confused as to how to graph the integers bit, or you didn't see that. So anyway, let me clear this, and we'll look at the next one. So number 6 says to find the volume of the right triangular prism below. Dimensions are in meters. So we have a triangle here. We want to find the volume. The volume of anything is just the area of the base of the main shape times the height. Now the area that we are going to deal with is the area of the triangle, because it extrudes backwards. It's the main shape of the whole thing, right? We can't use the rectangle on the bottom because it doesn't go straight up. It doesn't make a cubic rectangle. It makes a cubic triangle. So we're going to use the triangle as our area of the base. And so what we have here is we have a height of 12 and a base of 10. So we know the area of a triangle is the base times the height divided by 2. So that's going to be 12 times 10 divided by 2, which is going to be 120 divided by 2 is 60, and it's in meters. That'd be squared. All right, so now the depth or the height of this from this area here back is 15 meters. So we're going to take our area, which is 60 meters squared, times 15 meters. And I cannot do that in my head. I am not that good. So 60 times 15 is 900. So it'd be 900, and then we leave a little space, meters cubed. And that would be our answer. Okay? All right. You probably just got confused by this 13 meters here. That was a completely unnecessary measurement. It's just thrown in as extra information. You didn't need it at all. All right, so don't let that distract you. Here's another graph that you did not get around to. Let's go over it while we're here. So negative x is greater than -3, or x is greater than or equal to 7. We don't like a negative x. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by -1. And when we do that, we flip the sign. -1 times x is x. That becomes less than, and this becomes a +3. So we're going to graph these two things. So let me, I think I can start at 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, let me switch colors. If x is less than 3, we have to circle it. Oh, and it's integers, so sorry. Let me undo that. Oh, it's not going to let me undo it. Well, I'll erase it. Put that back in there. There we go. All right, so it's integers. So integers. So if it's x is less than 3, that means we have to do a 2 and a 1 and a 0 and keep going that way. And if x is greater than or equal to 7, it means we can include the 7 and then go that way, just doing the integers. And that should be, yeah, that's what we have here. All right, so that was the answer for 8. Number 9, let's see what happened. The dress was marked down 20%, right? So it was marked down 20%. There's the percents. There's the dollars. And the discount, what it sold for, the selling price, was 80%, right? because the total would be 100% of the price. We took 20% off, so we're paying 80% of the total. It's still sold for $120. That's the 80% that we paid, so we're putting it across from the 80. What would it sell for if the markdown of the original price was only 10%? Well, first we have to figure out what the original price is, right? So that's X. So let's figure out what the original price is, and then we'll figure out what 10% off is. So the original price, that'd be, we're paying 80 out of the 100, and that was the 120. So 80 times X is equal to 12,000. So we divide both sides by 80. And I'm going to have to pull up my calculator because I'm not that smart. 12, 1, 2, 3 divided by 80 is 150. So the original price is 150. All right. So make my eraser. There we go. So the original price was $150. So now we need to figure out what the price would be if we have a discount of 10%, right? So if the discount is 10% off of 100, then, hang on. If the discount is 10%, the selling price would be 90%, right? The total is 100% of 150. We don't know what that 90% would be. So we just do the same thing we did. So 90 over 100 equals X over 150. And now we multiply. So again, 90 times 150 is 13,500, and that's 100x. Divide both sides by 100. See if I can roll that up a little bit. There we go. That means X is going to be, we'll take those two zeros off, 135. So 10% off would be $135. And that is the amount we would have here. Ta-da! It's not so hard. It's just a multi-step process, and you have to think about what the question is asking and how you would get to that answer. Okay? So up here we had to figure out if this is how much we sold it for, this is the percentage that we're actually paying at this price. And we did that by we didn't know what the total was. So by figuring out the difference between the markdown and what the percentage it sold for, that gave us an equation that we could, or a proportion that we could set up and cross multiply to find this total amount. Then we had to set it up again with 10% off and then have the total amounts at the bottom, finding the unknown value of the sale price. So once you kind of think your way through it, it makes sense. And it just means we have to set up two tables. One for the 20% off and then one for the 10% off. Right? Okay. So I am go look at the last one. Let's see what happened on the last one. Come on, we clear the page. There we go. Right, so on the last one, we have graph. It's one of those triples again, where you have 6 is less than or equal to x minus 2, which is less than d. Sorry, I can't read. It's terrible. Which is less than 7, and it's reals, so we get to draw the line, which is easier. So we just do the same thing we did before. We want x by itself, so we add 2 to all 3 sections. That gives us 8 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 9. So now we know what to graph. If x is less than or equal to 8, I'm sorry, 8 is less than or equal to x, so x is greater than or equal to 8. So we'll start at 8 here. This is 9. If it's less than or equal to 8, that means we can draw this, or 8 is less than or equal to x, we can draw this. But x is less than 9, so we have to circle 9, and we just have one little line between the two. That should be our answer. Yep, that's all we have. Ta-da! Easy peasy. So you just had to figure this out first. But you have to do the conjunction to figure out where x goes in between the two. So basically, x is just between 8 and 9, including 8. That's all. And that's all we have for lesson 111. Go back, redo that. Think about the problems, work them out yourself, put them in your notebook so that you can have the example of how to do them in the future. That's key, is having those example problems so you can go back and see how to work those. So if you have any more questions, please give me a holler. If you get stuck, we're going to be doing the same thing we did in class this week as we did last week. So bring your laptop, device, tablet, whatever you have, or you can get your phone, and we will go through some more of these in class. I'm trying to get everybody up to speed so that we can all do well, so we can get those grades up, and we can all pass. I say we. I've already passed Algebra 1, but you get the idea. I want everybody to do well and understand what we're doing. That's the whole point. I want you to understand. And I will see you Thursday, sweet girl. Bye for now.